Welcome to the Pretty Confident Podcast, where we embrace authenticity, own our worth, and build unshakable confidence. I'm your host, Sierra Renee, so let's dive in. What's up, you guys, and welcome back to another podcast episode week. You guys, I'm just so happy to be here, and although I am happy to be here, we have to get this topic in and out, okay? Because your girl is not feeling good. My stomach is kind of hurting. My head is kind of hurting, and it is time for a nap. But I set a goal for today to record 2 episodes, and I've already recorded 1, so I definitely wanted to go ahead and get the other one recorded while I'm in a good semi-state. And yeah, always put your health before anything else, but I feel like I can do it. My husband was like, girl, you need to go to bed. I said, it's been weeks since I recorded multiple episodes in one day. Although I can only leave it down to 1, why not go ahead and press for 2, I feel okay enough to do it. This is my safe space. It's not like I'm putting on a front to record or anything like that. And yeah, so we're going to go record. I got my water right here, my H2O, and yeah, we're going to get in and we're going to get out, okay? But before we get into today's topic, how are you all feeling? How is April going for you all thus far? As I'm saying, the month that this episode is coming out in makes me realize how much closer we are getting to my delivery day. I am so ecstatic, nervous, happy, scared, all at the same time, and I have just not been able to wait to meet my baby girl. But at the end of the day, to be able to meet her, I'm gonna have to push her out unless I have a C-section, okay? And that is something that I do not want unless it is medically required. All right, for my health, for her health, for both of our healths, unless it's really needed for health reasons and not just because they want to get a scheduled surgery in. That's the only way that's the only reason I need a C-section, is if there's life-threatening events taking place with the vaginal birth. But anyway, yeah, her due date is coming up. My due date is coming up. And I just hope she doesn't come early, because I don't know if I'm prepared. If she's ready to come early, mama is ready to meet you, baby girl. But if not, let's stick around our due date in May, okay? Give me some time to just prepare myself. I had 9 months, 10 months to prepare myself, but at the end of the day, it's getting real, okay? Things are getting real. Things are getting serious. But yeah. How are you all feeling? How is April treating you all? If you're new here, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to either watch this or listen to this on any of the audio platforms. And if you're watching, you're on YouTube. And yeah, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to listen or watch, and just figure out what I have going on this platform. Hopefully you find a community here and you want to stay. Hopefully I make you want to stay. I really do. I hope you go ahead and subscribe, comment, share, whatever. Spread the good word of the Pretty Confident Podcast. And if you are a returning listener or an OG, thank you so much for sticking through thick and thin with your girl, because I know there's been some tough times. I know there's been some postponed episodes in the past, but with my goals this year, we are not doing any of that, okay? We are recording ahead of time. We are editing and scheduling stuff to be posted ahead of time so that we can stay on our consistency journey for 2026 and so on and so forth. Now, the one thing that I will say is I still am not advertising until I get my podcast set up completely done. And I also want a new mic. I still got to get 2 chairs back there. One, just for me, really. But if I do have a guest, I do need a second chair. So I definitely want 2, but I really need 1. And yeah, I want a new podcast mic. The wireless mic's beautiful, cute, cool, but I want a stand-up one so I can really get in the podcast feel of things and not hold this. And then if I do have a guest, I do need another mic that can feed into something. I'm probably gonna have to change my setup with the camera, all of the things like that. So definitely a lot of research to do, and things to prepare for. But there's just a little bit more pressing things, i.e., for example, my baby
she's on the way. So I've been nesting and getting things ready for her, getting her room all together, buying things to go in her room and just prepare for her arrival and prepare for my postpartum care. And yeah, just all of the things. So there's just some things that take priority over my podcast right now. And so I'm just going to leave it like this until I get to the point where I'm like, okay, this is kind of set in motion, or I need to go ahead and start putting this or prioritizing this, because obviously there's always going to be something that my baby needs. But I also don't want to lose focus and sight of the things that I still do and love to do outside of my motherly obligations, because at the end of the day, if you lose yourself in your child, I feel like you lose your identity and you don't know who you are when your child grows up and moves out the house. And so I don't want that for me. So when she gets here, when I have all the necessity things that I want and need for her, I'm definitely gonna start to put me a little first in some things. And then it's just a give and take situation. You figure out when you need to put yourself first, when you had time to put yourself first, and make sure you're not neglecting yourself while taking care of a child. And also leaning on your partner, making sure that your partner knows you may need help, or making sure your partner knows that, hey, I've been kind of neglecting myself. I want to do this, and then that for myself. Can you kind of pick up in this area? So I'll make sure that I do all of those things and everything like that. I'm trying to make sure my necklace is straight, because I hate when I go back and watch anything back and I'm like, oh my gosh, my necklace was straight. I didn't have this in it. Okay, it ticks me off. And then I'm like worried about my necklace the whole entire time I'm talking, because I'm like, oh, they're worried about my necklace too. Y'all ain't worried about my necklace. Y'all worried about what the heck I got going on. But because I said something about my necklace, y'all probably worried about my necklace now. And y'all gonna clock it when it go crooked. I should have just kept my mouth closed. But anyway, thank you all for being here. New listeners, OGs, returning listeners, regardless of who you are and why you are here. Thank you so much for being here. I'd love to lead off with asking you all how you're doing and showing my gratitude. Okay, so that's that. And we are in April. So not only are we a quarter of the way through the year, but like I said, we're closer to my due date, and I just want to make sure I get enough episodes out, because since I'm taking a maternity leave from work, I may have to take a maternity leave from the podcast, but we don't know. Okay, there has been a couple weeks that I did not record anything at all, but recording stuff in advance, like 3 episodes I did in one day, got me all the way through March. So that gave me some wiggle room to not record, to take care of myself, to rest a little bit more. And so I'm trying to record, hopefully 6 episodes this week to kind of make up for the 2 weeks that I didn't record anything whatsoever. And this is the second of the first 2 episodes that I wanted to record this week. And then there's going to be another day I want to record 2 episodes, and a third day I want to record 2 episodes. Will it happen? I will try my best to make it happen, but it's always going to be based on how I'm feeling that day. I'm not going to push myself past my limits, because at the end of the day, I could do it a different day and it'll still be in advance. Okay, or I can do it the third day that I want to record 2 episodes and record 4. We'll see. Do I have that much to talk about? I don't know. We gonna see. Okay, but we're gonna go ahead and hop into today's episode. Last week, we talked about, quarter 1 goals and what I accomplished, and how I accomplished and planned and all of the things for quarter 1. And by the time that episode came out, I should have been done with the last thing I wanted to accomplish in Q1, and that is planning out my boundaries and visitation and stuff for when me and the baby come home. So that should be done by the time both of these episodes come out. And now I should, by the time this episode comes out, have my Q2 goals already planned out. So if you want an episode on that, maybe I'll give it to you like at the end of April while I'm recording. Maybe I'll give it to you just so that those that are following along with me can do it as well. And I'll give you a little bit of an opportunity to make your own goals yourself before I share mine. And, I kind of gave you all the blueprint at the beginning of the year. So just following that blueprint over and over and over for each of the quarters, and then making your plan, using your planner to plan out your week. What are your weekly non-negotiables that will help you achieve those goals? Yes, we have vague goals, but when we look at our quarters and what goals we want to achieve in that quarter, those should be more in depth. Okay. And then your weekly goals should be, or your weekly plans should should be something you can actively do on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, to achieve that goal, to strive towards that goal. Okay, so maybe I'll give you guys an episode on what my Q2 goals will be and what I will do on a weekly basis to achieve that, because I really feel like it helped. And so, I don't know how in tune I'll be, how in sync I'll be with the goals that I do set for Q2. But keeping in mind that I'm having a baby and making my goals around that and prioritizing, things around that will probably help me stay the course. So we'll see. But yeah, if you can't tell by the beginning or the title of this episode, priorities shape our actions. Okay. I have seen and heard a lot. And just over the years, I've kind of seen like trends with certain people, whether it's on the internet, whether I know them personally. And I just feel like all of us at this age, we have this vision that we want our life to be. We have this vision that we thought our life would be now. And because we haven't been doing the work to fit the vision that we thought for or envisioned for ourselves, it's showing us that maybe the vision that we have for ourselves, we weren't prioritizing. Because when I say our priorities shape our actions, based on what your priorities are, they should shape your actions. And I feel like a lot of people can misinterpret their priorities, or they can think these list of things are their priorities, but it's really something completely different based on what your actions are showing and what the repetitive cycle is. Okay. And what I mean by that is, take me for example. If I told you all in the previous video, my goals and my priorities, especially this year with becoming a new mother, is setting clear and cut boundaries, communicating them, preparing for an unmedicated birth, preparing a birth plan, preparing, my boundaries for when the baby comes home. I'm saying that all of these are my priorities, right? But if my actions are not lining up with that, so I'm not creating a birth plan, I'm not thinking ahead, I'm not taking birthing, these expecting parent classes at the hospital for free, I'm not, doing the exercises or researching what I could be doing and within my control to make sure I have an unmedicated birth, getting my body, getting my mental ready. If I'm not doing all of these things, the actions to say or the actions to match my priorities, clearly that's not my priority. So if I'm not doing all of these things, I can sit here and say all day, these are my priorities, but my actions are not matching that. My priorities are not being fulfilled. I'm not showing that these are my priorities, so that is what is shaping my action and my decision making when it comes down to certain things, right? Especially in my free time. I have the free time to either go sit down, lay down, watch TV, play games on my iPad, edit, do all of these other things. But if I'm not allotting time to my priority, that's clearly my priority is not what I say it is. My priority is what I'm giving my time to. And so when you say your priority is X and you're doing something completely different that takes away your time, attention, and effort away from that, we need to realign and rethink what our priorities are. And if we truly want whatever we're saying we want our priority to be, what are we going to change in our day-to-day lives and our day-to-day activities to make sure we are altering our cycle of where we want to be, or altering our cycle of what we're doing to match where we want to be? Because you can say you want to do something all day, but until you put action behind those words, it is not true. Okay, so like I said, that's something for me. I know a lot of people say, oh, well, I want to be, this in life and somewhere over here. But are you actively taking the time and taking the steps that you need to be to make sure you're getting to that point? If you say that you want to go into entrepreneurship and do all of this and do all of that, do you have mentors that have their own businesses that are mentoring you into how to take the first steps into entrepreneurship, coaching you through certain things, telling you what networking events to go to? Or are you still doing your 9 to 5, which is perfectly fine, still doing your 9 to 5, but when you have free time, you're going out with your friends, partying, doing all of this, taking girls out, playing the game, all of these other things. Clearly, your priorities are misaligned. What you are saying is not matching your actions. And so, yes, this may be a priority for you, but your actions are not matching that. So we really need to get in tune with what are we saying our priorities are, and are we willing to take note of what we're doing currently in our lives to either match our priorities, or if they don't currently align with our priorities and the outcome that we want and the priorities that we set, what are we willing to alter in our everyday routines to make that priority an action, to take action towards that priority. Okay, because if you're saying one thing and doing another, you're being contradicting and you're not telling yourself the truth. I told you all before, and a long ways back, that we know every lie that we tell ourselves. And so when we come to doubt ourselves, when it comes to setting goals, when it comes to telling other people things, or telling ourselves, or writing down our goals, and and we keep doubting ourselves, it's because every lie you told yourself. You told yourself every year, okay, January 1st, I'm going to start working out. I'm going to, do better. I'm going to eat right. I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to buy cute clothes to make me want to go to the gym. You tell yourself this every year, but on January 1st, you don't take action. One, you don't prepare yourself to take action. And two, when it comes time to take action, you don't show up for yourself. And so that is where your doubt is coming from. That is where, the seed of doubt. It's not coming from other people doubting you. It's not coming from other people counting you out. It's coming from you knowing every lie you've told yourself and you not showing up for yourself. And so that is the same thing with your priorities. Your priorities should be something that is going to challenge you to be better, but also make your lifestyle better, to make who you are as a person better. But if you are doing something completely different, completely opposite from your priorities are exactly that, the opposite of what you could previously said that they were. So, like I said, I know people in my not my everyday to day life, but like I know people personally where they say they want to be here in life, but they're ducking off and doing other stuff that doesn't align with what they are saying their priorities are. And so when my husband and I was having this conversation, I was just like, you know what? This person wants this person idolizes this, but I feel like when we idolize certain things and we tell ourselves, yes, I really want this. I really want this for my life. I idolize this. This is what I want my life to be at the end, or at a certain point. I feel like when you idolize certain things, you put those things out of touch, out of reach for yourself. And so then you make it something that is unattainable to yourself. And so internally, you may think like, yes, that's what I'm prioritizing. That's what I want my life to be. But your day-to-day action is not showing that. And so not only but what is that telling you? If you're not showing that and you're not willing to change the things in your day-to-day life to match your priorities, you're telling yourself either one, I'm not good enough. Two, I don't know where to start. Three, I don't have time, which is always a lie. You have to make time for the things that you want. And then four, maybe it's just out of reach for me. Maybe it's not something that I can achieve by myself. Okay? Because I feel like at this age, like dating and stuff like that, we all think we have to have somebody in our lives to get us to a certain point. But if we utilize people like that, it's for the benefit of ourselves and not because we truly want that person in our lives. It's not because we truly want to get to know this other person and love this person for the rest of our lives. If you are trying to date so that somebody else can help you to a social status of your own, we're dating for the wrong reasons, one. And two, we're taking advantage of people. So you're looking for qualities and traits that other people may possess, or things that they can do for you that you can benefit from. And that is just wrong. Okay. So, I mean, at the end of the day, when they leave, if you decide to leave, if you decide this relationship is just not cutting it, what is going to happen to you and your position in life individually if this person is no longer with you? So we need to be, one, dating for a sole purpose of marrying and wanting to be with that person. And then if the beauty of multiplying and getting all these other things at new heights come with it, so be it. But I don't want you to base your success off having to be with somebody, because you can say you want a brand new house, brand new car, brand new this, or not even brand new. You just want a house, you want an apartment, or all of these other things that you want, but because you feel like you can't get it on your own, you're trying to find somebody else to either help you get that, or you're completely neglecting that idea because, hey, it may be out of touch for me because I idolize it so much, and me looking inward, I don't think I have it in me to achieve this, so let me just focus on something else. When you're diverting your focus to something else, that is no longer your priority. So are you willing to change who you are as a person and work harder and figure out what are the steps that I need to take to not only better my position, but better my mental state that tells me that I can keep going, that I can do this as long as I put forth the effort and push myself past my own limits? Because there are going to be times like, yeah, I don't know how to do this, or I don't know how to get here, but am I willing to learn from somebody else? Am I willing to do the research? Am I willing to put the controller down and log into TikTok University, watch YouTubes? Am I willing to actually reach out and network with other people depending on what you are saying your priorities are? What are you willing to give up to get what you want? Okay, so that is what I want to talk about today, because I know previously when I talked about priorities, it was kind of like in a relationship sense and not just individually what your priorities may mean to you or what they may say about you versus what your actions may be, because we can talk a lot of people talk a lot, but are you talking about anything with substance? You could be talking just to talk. You could be talking because you want to hear yourself talk, or you could be talking so that you feel like the biggest person in the room and everybody needs to have eyes on you. There are a lot of different reasons that people talk, but what are their actions behind the things that they are saying? That's why I'm kind of quiet when it comes to things, when it comes to like telling outside people things. Like on my podcast, y'all my family, okay? I'm trying to build a community here, and I want you guys to track my progress. If I said that I want to do something, and I track my progress myself, because if I say I want to do something and I'm saying that this is my priority, and then I change something down the road, or what I'm doing is not matching what I said, maybe my priority changed. If so, why? It may not fit me in this season. It may have changed based on the road that I went down and the research that I found. It just doesn't align with me, and that is perfectly fine. But when you are so adamant on something but you haven't even started to do the research and make it applicable to your life, that is where we have an issue, because you're not trying, you're not doing anything to make this a reality for you. Okay, because without action, your goals and your priorities are just wishes. They're imaginary. When you write it on paper, they're words. When you put it into action and make a plan, it is attainable. You can probably touch it as long as you do the work to do so. So I don't want you out here setting priorities like, oh yes, I want to do this, I want to do that. But over here, you're completely contradicting yourself with the goals and the decisions that you choose to make, right? Because at the end of the day, we all have to face the consequences of the choices that we make. Nobody else can face those consequences. So if you're over here scared because nobody else in your friend group is doing the same thing as you, and nobody else has reached this type of level of success that you're wanting for your life, change the people around you. But when you're constantly afraid of stepping out into the unknown, whether it's because other people in your group aren't doing it, other people are probably putting you down, or other people can't help you out, that you're limiting yourself and your success. And so yes, it's going to feel like it's unattainable. Yes, it's going to feel like it's out of reach, because you have not done enough footwork to get yourself out of the uncomfortable state of being uncomfortable. So yeah, I love that. That's what I wanted to talk about, you guys. Like I said, it doesn't just matter, like priorities don't just matter just in relationships, whether it's platonic or romantic. It matters because it drives our decisions. What you prioritize or what you do shows what you prioritize. If you're saying you want a house, if you're saying you want a car, but you're not doing any research, you're not doing any saving, you're not doing any planning, You're worried about getting the girl, getting the guy, showing off the watch, showing off materialistic things, always posting on this or posting, different things on Instagram, not taking the time to research the things that you truly need to research for these priorities that you have. It is showing me that you actually do not prioritize this new car, this new house, this new apartment, whatever you're saying that you want. You are prioritizing the acceptance and the attention of other people and wanting the approval of other people based on the materialistic things that you are able to acquire and post about. So figure out what you are doing in your life and take note of it. What do you say your priorities are? What are your goals in life? And this probably just does go hand in hand with goals. What are your priorities in life? Let me phrase it like this. What do you think your priorities are in life? What do your actions say your priorities are in life? And are you willing to change based on what you find out, based on what your actions are saying? Are you willing to change any of those actions to truly fit what you say your priorities are in life? Those are my 3 questions for y'all. What do you say your priorities are in life? What do your actions say your priorities are in life? And based on those actions, if they don't match number 1, are you willing to change what in your actions day to day, week to week, month to month? What are you willing to change to make your actions meet the actual priorities that you want out of your life? Okay. Those are my takeaways for y'all. I want y'all to write them down. If y'all want to post them in the comments, I love that. And then let me know. Is this something that y'all want me to answer? I feel like I did kind of answer, just with my goals and going through my quarterly planning with y'all, and also setting aside the weekly things that I want to do every week to make sure that my actions are matching my priorities. I realized that when I did my bingo board in 2025, the door closed and I was like, what the heck? I realized when I did my bingo board in 2025, I had 0, a big goose egg of actions behind the goals that I said I wanted to set. And when I realized that that is what I did all 2025, it really put into perspective that yes, these are my goals, but if I don't have any plan in place to achieve those goals, how do I know that what I'm doing is actively working me towards my goals? I don't know, because at the end of every month, I was just saying, okay, yeah, I achieved this. Okay, great. Moving on. What do I want to achieve in the next month? But at the end of the day, I had no plan in the next month on how to achieve the next set of goals that I wanted to achieve. I was just either Xing the box off or not Xing it off. This year and the years to come, quarterly planning is going to be the way for me. Whether it's quarterly planning, monthly planning, whatever I deem necessary. I like this quarterly planning so far just because it keeps me accountable. I did not look back at my Q1 goals whatsoever, because the actions that I said I wanted to implement every week, which I ended up having to unlearn some things. I'm like, oh my goodness, routines make the biggest change in the world for me and how I operate, because I'm always going to be on a clock, because I'm either getting ready for work, I'm getting ready for, trying to record, I'm trying to post a certain amount of times a week, and that's on 8 different platforms. I got TikTok for my personal platform, TikTok for my podcast, which I haven't been using because I'm not advertising, but until that comes back around, I'll have a TikTok for my content, TikTok for podcasts, Instagram for content, Instagram for personal, Instagram for podcast. Then I have YouTube for podcasts, YouTube for personal content. Then I'm on 3 different social media platforms, and that's 10 platforms right there. So I realized that, okay, one, I did not have a schedule before. I did not have a plan on how many times I'm going to post every week. I think everybody is so in this era of, oh, you have to post every day in order to go viral. Oh, you have to post every day in order to get, good following. I feel like if you post on a consistent schedule, people will know when to expect you to show up, because that's when you're posting. You're posting on a set schedule. And so I put a routine in place. Pick a day and time through the week that you are going to post. Okay? From that, work based off that. You don't have to stretch yourself so thin to record almost every single day, multiple times a day at that, so that you can post 30 days in a row, 60 days in a row. And if you miss one day, I feel like, that's just going to mess up my algorithm. Well, yeah. If you're posting every single day and you miss a whole week or you miss a day or so, like, I feel like people are now expecting you every single day and you missed a day. But if you train people to expect you during a particular time on a particular day, they will look for you in that capacity. So not overexerting yourself, creating a routine that not only works for you, but your mental as well. And then it doesn't feel like you're bombarded. Like, I felt like I was so bombarded every single day when I was trying to post every single day. Like, oh my gosh, I got to record. Oh, then I got to edit and voiceover and do this and do that. And now I'm doing the podcast too. Like, it's just too much for one person to do. And I genuinely felt overwhelmed. And I felt like I was going to quit. I felt like I was going to quit content creation and only do the podcast. But I was like, no, I still like doing content creation. I feel like there are some things that I eventually want to get into with my content creation, whether that be makeup, or talking a little bit more. But I love more free form and long form content that I just don't know if I can talk on TikTok, because everybody is just ready to swipe. So I am going to challenge myself in the next quarter, okay, to talk a little bit more, but also keep it very limited to maybe 5 minutes. But I feel like once I start talking, I feel like I gotta explain and expand on stuff, and maybe I really don't need to do that. Maybe I need to learn how to get to the point. That's maybe something that I need to learn, but I won't know until I do, until I figure out, is that something that I want to set my priority towards and change my, kind of like the nature of my content. So, we'll see. But at the end of the day, whatever goals and priorities that I set for my life and what I want to do in 2026, what actions am I going to put behind that? What actions am I going to eliminate from what I'm already doing to match those goals and those priorities that I want for myself? Because in Q1, at the very beginning, your girl was very ambitious. And then when I got to making my weekly planner and figuring out what I'm going to do on a day-to-day basis, I said, girl, you cannot do all of that. And it is okay to say what you do not have the ability to do at one point in time, but don't make that an excuse. Figure out what you can do to break these things down. Maybe you need to break it down week by week. Okay, maybe this week I'm going to focus on my birth plan. Maybe this week I'm going to focus on, researching certifications for my life coaching, things like that. It's not something that you have to do every single week unless it's, my routine. What routines are you about to set in place to make sure you always look put together? What routines are you going to set in place to make sure you're not always rushing? Okay, cutting down my skin routine on the days that I have less time from 12 steps to maybe 4 or 5 steps, figuring out what can I do to still look put together if I'm not doing makeup. Okay, taking it from a makeup day to a no makeup day and just doing eyebrows, lashes, and lip liner and calling it a day and walking out the door. I still look put together. Okay, not just waking up and walking out. Okay, if I don't feel like doing my hair on a day-to-day or on a week-to-week basis when I'm going into the office, what can I do to simplify my routine? Headband wigs. Okay, whoever created that idea, chef's kiss, because it makes my getting ready so much easier. I have like 3 headband wigs and 1 half wig. So if I wanted to do like some Fulani braids at the top and then, just throw on a headband wig, look like a half wig at the back, it could look like a whole style. It looked like I went and got a sew in and some more. But because I'm figuring out ways to make my routines quicker and more simple, if I don't have the time to do all the extravagant, or if I don't feel like doing all the extravagant, I'm not left with nothing. I'm still leaving with something, and that's still looking put together even when I'm not doing my full makeup. That's still making sure my hair done if I don't feel like touching my natural hair, right? Still looking presentable. So answer those questions, write them down. If you want to comment them, but what are you saying your priorities are? What do your actions say your priorities are? And if your actions do not match your priorities that you have, if your current actions do not match your priorities that you have for yourself, what are they, and are you willing to change them to fit the priorities that you say that you have for yourself in your life? Okay. But you guys, I'm about to sign out of here. I'm about to go relax. I'm gonna go take a shower, lay down. But yeah, I really love these episodes. I really love, talking to you all. I really love talking to myself as well, because all of these messages is not only for you, it's for me as well. Because one day in time, I did not know that, this is something that would be a topic. I honestly was having this conversation with my husband. I was like, that is going to be a great topic for the platform, because some people may think, oh yeah, I'm doing all of this, that, and the third, and these are my priorities, and these are my goals in life, but you're not doing anything to reach them. So you clearly have different priorities than what you are saying that you have. Our priorities shape our actions and our decision and our choice making. Okay, so keep that in mind. Go forth with that, young people, young grasshoppers, and explore and bloom and grow. Because I will be doing the same every single quarter, every single year, every single time. Okay, I love you all. Be confident in who you are. Be confident in the priorities that you set for yourself. Nothing is out of reach unless you tell yourself it is. And if you decide that it is no longer for you, that is for you to decide, no one else. Do not let anybody else tell you that this is going to be too difficult for you. This is something that you're not going to be able to attain, because as soon as you let that doubt sink in, you have already sabotaged yourself. Okay. I love you guys, and I will see you in the next episode. Peace.
Thank you for tuning in to the Pretty Confident Podcast. Remember, confidence isn't about perfection, it's about embracing who you truly are. So until next time, stay bold, stay authentic, and stay pretty confident. Peace out.